Hey guys, so today we're going to be looking at TMDB again. So we're going to be looking at three things. First one is we're going to be looking at how to create a request token and a guest session ID. Then the second thing is two ways to authorize on TMDB. And then the third thing is adding ratings in the TV series and in the movies in TMDB. So here we go. Okay, so over here you can see another program. At the top, as usual, we're going to do today, then the rules, and last the program. So today we're going to be looking at creating the request token and guest session ID, adding ratings, and two ways to authorize in the TMDB. So we're going to use the movie DB this time. So the first thing we're going to look at is how to create the request token. So here I've imported JSON and requests. So here I've created the request token. So I've just put this request token as a variable. Then this is the URL that I found on the documentation. Then the headers, and then I have, so I'm using post here. So then rec equal to request.post rt, and then I have headers equal to headers. Then I'm printing rec.text and rec.status code. So for the time being, or we can just leave it like that. So first I'm going to just run it like this. So here I have the request token is this. So in the end, after running this, I end up with my own request token. And so here it's like success and then it's like true. And then I've printed the status code just to ensure, and then it's 200, so it's alright. And then the request token is valid for 60 minutes, and if it's not used, then it's like automatically it expires. So that's creating the request token. After that, we're gonna look at creating the guest session ID. So here, creating the guest session ID. So then basically, we can just ignore this one and this one for the time being. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this. So then here we have true, and then guest session ID. Every time, so here I have, and then the guest session ID is this, and then expires at, and then the time zone is UTC. So basically every time, so for example, we can just look at the first three numbers to make it easy. So it starts with 825. And then next time I run it, then this time I get another guest session ID, which is 34B this time. So every time it keeps changing every time I run it. Otherwise, if I don't change it, then it just expires the next day at an UTC time zone. So now we're going to be looking at the two ways to authorize in TMDB. So one is with the API key, and the other is with a read access token. Both of them you can find after logging in to the TMDB. So once you log in, you'll find an API key and you'll find something called a read access token. So for example, here I can show you. So we're going to use the guest session ID like with two ways. So the first one, we're going to start with looking with the API key. So all I need to do is start with just commenting out URL. And I'm going to make this one the URL instead. And then when we do this one, then I don't need any of the headers. I can just comment it out for now. So then I've commented out the headers, and we can just take this away. So now I have get URL, and then I'm parsing it, but I parsed it for another reason, so we don't need to look at that right now. So here I'm going to run this, and then so now it still works, so the guest session ID still works. So basically all I've done here is in the URL itself, I've just said like question mark, and then API key is whatever my API key is. Except you need to log in and create your own actually. So then it works like that with the API key. You have to put a question mark at the end, and then you can just write API underscore key equal to whatever your key is. And then the other way is with the headers, as you saw. So if I comment this, and then if I uncomment this, and then if I fix the headers back, so here is equal And then if I uncomment this again, so then here in my headers I have accept application JSON, the content type, and then authorization. So in authorization I just write bearer space, and after that I put in the read access token that you find in your API settings in the TMDB website. So then I put in my own read access token. So now those are the two ways to authorize in the TMDB. So next we're going to be looking at, so now we're done with these three. So now we're going to be looking at adding the rating. So we're going to be looking at adding rating in TV series and in movies. So I'm just going to, so here we have movies/TV series. So then here we're going to start with TV series. So basically in the URL, so here we have this. Then over here, where we need to put the series ID. So then I found this 14614, then season, and then here we're supposed to put in the season number, so I'm going to put in 1. And then I'm going to put in the episode number, which is, I'm just going to put in 1, just to keep it simple. After that, I have a payload, so I can add the rating. So I'm going to give the movie or the TV series, for example, a 10. So this is the format. After that, I have headers, so I'm just using headers to keep it easier for myself. So then I have then data is equal to the payload, and then headers is equal to headers. Then I'm doing request.text and request.status code. So when I run it, here we have, so this is the last one this time. So here it's success true, status code 12, and then status messages that the item record was updated successfully. And then I get a 201. So that's with the TV series. Next we're going to be looking at movie. So all I'm going to do is, I kept the variable same so it's like easier. So now I can just put it like that. Then u is equal to, so here we have the movie ID and that's all it needs. And then it needs the guest session ID as well actually. So it needs the guest session ID and then it needs the movie ID. So in the guest session ID I put in this, and then now if I run it, then it's saying the item record was updated successfully. Now the thing is, if I want to make this more accurate with the guest session ID, then the reason I parsed is because, as I told you, every time the guest session ID keeps changing. So the best way to do this is actually that if I here put an F, and then I can go here, and then guest session ID, I can just go back. So I just need to select this, and then here I can put it into curly braces, and I can put an R, because after parsing that's the variable I put it into. So now when I run it, so, or I can just show you, so here, if I go here, and then I can say, so then I can be like print R, so print guest session ID is, and then I can just print R. So now here I have guest session ID is this, and then I can, now I have it at with the correct movie, with the correct guest session ID. Because now I put it into variables every time it changes. So here's like starting with 3AA, now it's starting with something else, E8F. So then it keeps like putting in the correct guest session ID.